Hey, John here again. So I just got this 18 horse Vanguard dropped off. The fella owns it says it doesn't run, or can't get it started rather, and he says it's been sitting around for 4 years. So I'm thinking over the phone, yeah, I know what it is. Carburetor's goofed up, gummed up, whatever. It's been sitting too long. I'll have to clean the carburetor out. And I asked the guy if he tried to start it, and he said yes, he was pulling on it. And I said, all right, we'll bring it over. And you know, this guy is known for taking stuff apart and giving me a box of parts. I told him, hey, don't take anything apart, I'll look at it. And it gets here, and sure enough, things are apart. Anyways, if this is all it is, it's been sitting around for he said sitting around for 4 years in a garage, so it's got to be what it is. Let's take this thing apart the rest of the way, and I'm expecting to find gummed up carburetor. And first though, I want to do a little check. I'm going to try to start this thing just going with some starter fluid right down the neck of the carburetor. If it wants to bump over, then sure enough, that's what it is, the carburetor. But take you long anyways just to see what we can find. You know, this carburetor is probably, it's a twin cylinder. It's probably got that dual intake, you know, and the carburetor sits in the middle there and shares both cylinders. We'll take it apart and see what happens though. I'm sure it's the carburetor. So the gas tank, just undoing the fuel connection there, and it's got gas in it. I don't know how good it is, but there's a fuel shut off on the gas tank, so that came off pretty easy. And then the next thing, just taking this bracket off where the fuel tank was on, so we can get to stuff. It's just the 4 bolts here, and this comes off. Looks like the throttle cable stuck up to it, but so on the back side, I'm going to take this off, get the throttle cable off, and I just want to take and dump some starter fluid down the throat here before we get too far. Actually, it looks pretty decent in there, clean wise. A little dirty, but so I'm going to open this choke up. This thing wants to bump over, then it's just a matter of the carburetor being cleaned. Watch your eyes. That's what I figured. So this should be fairly simple. So I'll just, like I said, I'll keep taking stuff apart and show you how to clean this carburetor. Hopefully that's all it is. All right. So I didn't undo the throttle cable here underneath. I'll just flip this up. So this is where I'm at. I took this choke off. It's just a little Z bend here. So that's where you're at. That's where I'm at. And we're going to take this carburetor off and look down in to the bowl. See, it's feeding from the gas tank. It comes down and feeds into the, where is it? Well, it goes through a fuel pump, which honestly, you know, your fuel pump could be bad too. You know, why it wouldn't start, but I doubt it, just because it's been sitting so long. So I'm not even going to mess with the fuel pump yet, but it comes in through the fuel pump, goes into the carburetor here, and fills up the bowl. You know, typical operation with a carburetor. You know, it's got to be what it is. Just because it's been sitting so long, he said it ran before it sat, so I'm expecting some hardened gel in there. Something's clogging it. The float pin is probably clogged, so hopefully this is going to be an easy fix as far as you know, just cleaning it out. I'm probably not going to get too involved with it. Try not to rip a gasket here. Say try. There we go. See, this is all just dirty, I'm sure. That's all we're talking about here. So these little Phillips screwdrivers, they can be really nasty and they strip out pretty easy. So what I'm going to do is get a little pick and get the cross members out, and then use an impact to crack these loose, because if you strip them out, then you got another problem, you know. So let me go get that. So I know I was bitching earlier about the guy bringing this thing in parts, but the reason I say that is because you want to be the guy to take this. So if, you know, I'm all about doing it yourself, right? So if you're going to do something yourself and you get into a pickle and you can't figure it out, then, you know, and you got to bring it somewhere, well, put it back together the way you found it. This way, the next fellow that's in there, when he takes it apart, he's going to know how it goes back together. Sometimes people bring me stuff and you know, like this will be unhooked or something, you know, bag of parts, and you know, you don't know where it belonged to begin with. The guy who takes it apart, it's got to be the guy that puts it back together. That's all I'm saying. Like I said, if you strip these out, which they will strip out easily, look at that. That was loose. That one ain't. I don't want to disturb the gasket. I don't have this gasket, and I really don't want to order one. I really don't want to be doing this. But, oh boy. Knew that was going to happen. Well, now we got to work on getting this thing cracked loose and trying to save the gasket. This is aluminum, so you got to be careful. Just trying to get that gas. I don't think we're going to save this gasket, I can tell you that. There we go. There we go. So I thought. Wow. Well, there's your problem, Alice. So, normally, I would, this is going to need an overhaul. Normally, I would just buy a carburetor. This is a twin cylinder. It's a little bit more expensive carburetor, but as you can see, I don't even know if I can clean this up. This is pretty filthy, and this is what I expected. If something sits around this long, you're going to have some issues. So that float is just solid, stuck in there, ain't moving. So I'm sure the pin, the float pin, everything is just, you know, gummed up to a point where you're probably going to need a new carburetor. Because I could see in here, just this cruddy stuff in here. So you got a choice. You can try to clean this up, which I might, but to see all these avenues, you know, to clean this stuff that's been caked on for that long, I guess we'll see how much a carburetor is, because like I said, the normal ones like goes on a Snow King, or so a carburetor like this, you know, regular looking carburetor with the bowl. These are like 13 bucks on Amazon. It would be a no-brainer. I wouldn't even attempt to clean that, and I'm probably not going to attempt to clean that, but and just replace it. But it's a different kind of carburetor. It's feeding this intake manifold. You know, goes to both cylinders. This is going to be more problematic, which I'm telling you right now, I've been in this situation 100 times. We're not going to be able to get this clean. You can't even get the float out of there. I mean, it's just locked in there. Yeah, the float. It's just plastic, right? And that just broke. The pin is stuck in there. So now we need a float. Yeah, that pin ain't coming out of there. This float pin is just literally cemented in there. So there's absolutely no reason to be cleaning this thing. See, this thing is sat so long. This is actually, I've never seen powder gas. There's no way to clean this carburetor. It is just junk. So this float pin stuck in here. Anyways, let's go price our carburetor, because that ain't gonna make it. Alright, well, here's some part numbers, and in good old Amazon, you can go anywhere from 56, there's one, 65, they're all the same carburetors too. 56, 67, comes with a fuel filter. 32, Xling, they're all the same carburetor. So for $32, Briggs and Stratton, yeah, that's the same part number, 846109. 32, let's see if there's another one, 32. Yeah, so you can get one for 32 bucks. This one comes with a filter, a shut-off, which we don't really care about all that. We're just going to slap a carburetor on. I just want to see if it's the same thing. So it does look like the exact same thing. Good old Amazon. So we got the carburetor in. I did take a peek at it. It looks like the same thing. And Amazon is great, man. 32 bucks for a brand new carburetor. And one company is trying to get your business more than the other company. Each one had a better deal than the other. So a couple of gaskets, a fuel shut-off, and a fuel filter came with this puppy. So I think this should be fairly simple. It does look like there's a few extra parts than normal to take off, like these brackets for the fuel tank brackets. Looks like the muffler's got to come off. We got to take this whole cover off, right, to get to the intake, which feeds both heads, and they should unbolt right off. This ain't an electronic fuel injection, so there's nothing to worry about as far as wires or anything like that. So it just looks like 1, 2, I don't know, I'll let you know. Looks like the bracket for the muffler's got to come off, and this bracket, that bracket, the fuel pump, and then just the traditional bolts, whatever's around there. Looks like there's a bolt under there for the... So let me get to that, and I'll tell you what I took apart. Alright, so the fuel lines, you know, so this is on the fuel pump here. I'm going to take this fuel pump off and the fuel lines, but because this is so crapped up, this line might be compromised. I just blew in this, and some gas did come out of there. So I think the fuel pump will be okay. This line might be okay. It still seems like it's alright. This one I'm concerned with, you know, because of where this gas sits in, and this float pin is just jammed solid, so there might be some gunk in there. So I'm going to replace this. It is a formed, it looks like a formed hose, but I've got flexible hose. We can do something with that. So I'm going to try to save this hose and that hose. So because I'm going to cut this off, it really doesn't matter. Actually, it's not in the way, so I don't even have to cut it. So what I'm going to do is take off this bolt, that bolt, get this fuel pump right out of the way, and there's a hose behind the fuel pump that goes to the valve cover, and it may just unplug right out of there. Or is there a clamp? There is a clamp. So just this little guy, little fuel line to the valve cover, fuel pump, and this hose. That's all we're going to do right now. And then this bracket will come off, 1, 2 bolts. This bracket, 1 to 2 bolts. You got to loosen the bracket on the muffler there, and I'm hoping not to take the muffler off, just slip this cover right out once I take the bolts off. Hopefully this cover will slip right out once we get all the bolts off. Looks like we'll be doing 2 fuel lines. This thing was just welded onto this nipple here. No matter what I did, and it got compromised, so we'll have to add this little piece here. So 1 fuel line, 2 fuel lines so far. Let's get this wire out of the way here. Let's not forget that goes underneath, yeah? Don't worry, we will. Alright, so the fuel pump, like I said, was here. So we just took it off. And now we'll, what's that, 13 maybe? So, probably don't want to separate these because it'll be a little confusing when you go to put them back together, so we're just going to leave these together. Alright, let's get to the other side. Is there anything down here? Yes, there is. Another 12, it looks like. No, that's boy, all kinds of... So underneath here there's a wire harness, that's a 10. On the side there's a wire harness holding this loom on, which is also... It's also holding the cover on, so we'll take that one off. And let's see, is there one on the bottom? Yeah. So there's one about 3 o'clock here, and one about 5 o'clock, so there's 2 more bolts on the side. And these are 10 millimeters. On this side, we have one down here. I'll get a light in here in a second. One down here, one here, and it looks like the same thing, except the muffler bracket is part of this bracket, so hopefully that will just be able to slide everything out and then slide this cover off. Let's see what happens. 2 12s and 2 10s. Like I said, hopefully this will just stay mounted, the muffler, because the muffler is attached to the back side of the engine, but hopefully this will slip right out and the cover will slip right out, so we don't have to remove the muffler. 1 10, 2 10, right? Let's see. Alright, let's see here. Can we get this piece out? Yes, we can. Can we get this piece out? Yes, we can. Alright, perfect. Alright, get the starter off. That's not too bad in there. It's pretty clean. Alright, so I think those are probably the same. 12s. Yep. Get the 12s, 4 12s. 4 12s and a zip tie. And we're golden. Now I'm going to try to get these out. It doesn't look like the carb came with the intake gasket, so I'm going to try to hopefully wiggle this out and not affect those gaskets, because I don't have another gasket for those two, and I forgot to order them. So we're going to try to get lucky with hopefully that'll come right off without ripping. Otherwise I'll make some. I got some gasket material. Don't have it. Well, I might have these gaskets, I don't know, because I did an engine like this, an overhaul, and I'll have to look though. Let's see what we got here. Looks like this housing bracket's holding her up. Oh, that one's, I can see that gasket made it. Oh, that one made it too. Alright, they both made it. Cool beans. Alright, now see if we can flip this up without taking a linkage off. Not yet. I just want to see if we can get 2 bolts here. I'll take the linkage off after I get the carb, you know, more dangly, if that makes sense. Get this intake out of the way. 2 more 12s. Now I do have the gaskets for this, so if it doesn't want to come off, we'll just take it off, huh? Yeah, these are shorter. Alright. So that gasket in here, I think I got that one too, but it doesn't look like we're going to need it. Looks clean in there. Alright, now let's get this linkage out of here. So this little clip, they're usually plastic, this one looks metal, so we won't be able to break this one. All this stuff falling out. I have to blow that crap out now. Oh, no, I guess it will come off. It's a little corroded, but it loosened up. Okay. So it's just this, I don't know if the new carb came with it, so I was trying to save this metal piece here. The new one might have come with it, I gotta look, but otherwise we gotta take this grommet out and use this clasp again. So let's take a look. Look at that carb, it's nasty, man. Yeah, well that was nice of them. So the new one does have a nice shiny clip. So let's just slap this sucker on, huh? Without fail. Snap-ola. Alright, gotta get the gasket for this. Put the gasket on, and put this fellow back on. Short fella. Flip this under here. Right. Get the long ones back in there. Right about yonder. Alright, so let's see. There's the oh, that looks like it's bent a little bit. I'm gonna have to bend that. Looks like that throttle cable got bent a little bit. It appears like everything will work. So I'm gonna cover this up. Put some thing over here, and I'm gonna blow all this crap out of here. Now that everything's sealed up, and I'm gonna put the bolts back in. Right back. Alright, get rid of that crap. Get rid of that dusty ethanol. I never seen it turn to dust like that. That was pretty cool. Oh, hey, missing gasket. Was that on the top? I don't have the top. Where's the top? Alright, well maybe that other gasket, yeah. Alrighty, almost threw that away. So if you're looking for the gasket underneath the spacer, it didn't come with this carburetor, so I wouldn't separate that. What we're doing here? Oh yeah, the spring, that little spring, where is it? Uh-oh, there it is. That little spring doohickey, that goes back on this little hook. Like so. Let's see, oh, let me get some zip ties on here just in case. They had it zip tied, so I'll zip tie it. Actually, I'll zip tie both of them just for... I'm not sure if it's quite necessary, but this is the fan here going around in circles. So, can't hit, right? Alright, so we're going over this, under that. And under this. Do we go over this or under that? It appears under. I'll take in closer in a second. So this is a muffler bracket, but this is part of the cover. It's black, which goes over this part of this fan shroud. Right, the tab goes up, and then the other part of this fan shrouding down below, where the spark plug boot is, and it comes through there. It'll look like it fits over this piece, but it goes underneath it. That way your spark plug boot will fit into the groove. And you just got to be mindful what you can't see in there. But the cover, it's got to go over and in between the muffler. You'll know if you get it crossed up, the bottom bolt down here, it won't match up. Alright, so now two hands, because the bolts won't line up if you go the wrong way. If you overlap one or the other, it's not going to line up. But you see how I relieve pressure. I'm going to get this back underneath here. Right there. And you see how this thing can be tweaked a little bit. So we'll line our bolt holes up like that. Alright, I got an extension, and I think I've showed this 100 times. If you're going to go into a funky place without a magnet and it's going to fall, just take a little piece of paper towel. It doesn't even have to be this big. Just a little piece of paper towel, and this will hold it in. It's almost like putting grease in there. Right? So we can start this hole and align it at the same time. Right? There's that one. Where's the other bolt? Alright, so this is the other side, but as you can see, this is what I was talking about over there. This needs to be on the inside of this cover, but that's why we didn't tighten everything up over there. So we'll just back it off a little bit so we can get it pushed in there. Just a hair more. There it goes. Let's see if we can slide her in. There we go. Perfect. Looks like it's lined up. Yep. And let's do the top one first. Yeah, if you're trying to persuade something, something's probably tweaked. So just take a look around, look who can go above or beyond to untweak it, because these are bolting up real easy now. So next up is the fuel pump, right? It's got to go back on here, but we're going to replace these lines, at least two of them. It's a pretty flexible fuel line, so I got no problem coming underneath here like the other one and bending around. I think there's a 12s. So far it's just been 10 and 12. Let's see, are we going to hit anything here? Anything in the way? Doesn't appear to be. Before we tighten that down, see if we can get this choke in there without having that bracket on there. Oh yeah. So let's see. Alright, so I cleaned this tank out as best I could. So we're just going to hook this hose up. Just sits in there. I don't know what a cap is. Alright, so everything's bolted down. I got to get some gas in there. This puppy's heavier than a bastard. Key on. Let's weigh this full throttle. Well, let's just do half throttle, see what happens. Let's let that way is full throttle. Choker. It's like wet paint. So I should probably squirt some screw. Let's see what happens here. This thing's heavier than fast. I guess we'll pull it over a couple times. It's probably been a while. Let's give her a whack. I don't want to fall off this thing. This thing's too heavy. Give me no choke. Alright, so it starts. I was just about to rip it full blast, see what happened. I never checked the oil on this thing, knowing this machine is out of oil. I guess let me go get a rag. Oh yeah, it's full. And it looks like oil. And it don't smell like gas. So, probably needs an oil change. It would be smart to change this oil, but I just want to see if, you know what, I'm going to change the oil. I don't want to take any chances if this thing's been sitting around for 4 years. And if that ain't exactly oil, it's mixed with something like water or gas. Let me change the oil right quick and then we'll fire it up. Now, we've got some fresh oil in there. Let's try this again. I don't know if we need to choke it. Half throttle. Well, just like I expected, you rarely have to tune a carburetor right out of the box. So that being said, this thing, you know, we're not sucking leaves here, but so this carburetor for this machine, it's uncleanable. You can't clean that. You can spend an hour trying to clean that, you know, give it an acid bath or whatever you think you're gonna do. It's not gonna be, you know, it's hideous. This is probably one of the worst ones I've seen. That's all I got. Thanks for watching. See you next time, yeah?